Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are doing a collective reading and energy update. So welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I hope you're doing really well wherever you are in the world. We're really on the countdown now to the 17th of February, which of course is a really powerful day, both astrologically, but also in terms of us moving from the year of the snake to the year of the fire horse. And so many people online have been talking about this shift and this energy transition that so many of us have actually been feeling for quite some time now. If you are someone who is very energetically sensitive, I am imagining that this time has been very intense for you, especially the last couple weeks. And know that you are not alone in feeling that way. I'm hearing empaths always feel it first. So because you're someone who's very sensitive to energy, you are getting a precursor in a really powerful way of the transformation that the collective is going to be going through more gradually over the course of time. It's almost like when you're someone who's really sensitive to energy, you sort of have this crash course where there's this almost fast influx of precursor energy that you receive first, and then you prepare the way for the rest of the collective. So this is definitely a two-sided coin, because on the one side, you actually get to receive the benefit of the upgrade first, and usually much more quickly. So you get access to, in a way, higher energetic levels of existence you can create with higher frequency energy. But on the other side of that, the experience of receiving what is actually an upgrade can feel like a breakdown in the process. It can feel really overwhelming to your system. It can feel really confusing, overstimulating. And part of why I felt the need to start the reading by describing this is because I feel that if you found this video, there's a very good chance that you've been feeling both sides of that coin a lot lately. So some moments you may feel on top of the world, and you could feel all of this powerful new energy pulsing through you. And in these moments, some downloads I was receiving around this are that you might be feeling as though there is some whole vision that's really coming together for you. And I keep getting something about how this vision is really defining the next, I don't know why this specific time frame came through, but I was hearing something about the next 3 to 5 years. So maybe that's specific to someone. It's kind of funny from a spiritual perspective. It almost feels like a 5-year plan, but of course, one that is energetically based, not so rigid and concrete as when people say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And then expect this perfectly laid out step-by-step plan. It's definitely not that way, but there's still this sense that spiritually and energetically, the next 3 to 5 years are sort of being mapped out in your cells right now, in your very DNA, in your energy field. And you're feeling or catching glimpses of that being etched out, even though it is happening invisibly and unconsciously and beneath the surface. So it's almost like your role right now is to receive the vision, but that has been a very confusing and at times overwhelming process, because what I'm getting is that you keep catching glimpses of it. So you keep kind of getting these little windows of insight into the bigger picture, into how your life is going to be moving forward and progressing in a big way. And I'm hearing that the vision is even bigger than you ever allowed yourself to imagine. So there is this sense that even the glimpses that you are catching now, even when it feels like you're kind of starting to get that full picture, know that it is even bigger than that. It is even more expansive than the current most expanded edges of your own imagination. And ironically, that's exactly why at times it feels so overwhelming. The message that kept coming through is that if the vision wasn't so big, you wouldn't be feeling so overstimulated at times or overwhelmed at times because, well, since we're going there already, let's just talk about the other side of that coin. The sense that I get is that on the other side of that, while at times you might feel exhilarated, empowered, excited, like, wow, I feel like this whole vision is coming together, at other times you might actually suddenly feel the opposite. And so I've experienced this personally, and I've really been exploring this energy dynamic because I found it really fascinating. And I've wanted to share everything that I can about what I'm picking up on with all of this with you all, because we are going through these shifts together that are happening collectively. And again, one of my main goals with these videos is to simply help you to feel less alone on your journey and to know that what you're experiencing right now, you are not going through alone. You might feel like you're on an island, but what you're experiencing is not random. It's not some kind of sign that you're broken, because I'm getting that for some people listening to this, there are moments where you get really overwhelmed and think like, am I broken? Is something wrong with me? But I'm hearing that is the old system being cleared out and making way for the new. That is that final shedding of the snake skin that's been happening really most intensely these past few weeks. It's like the final push of that snake shedding its skin has definitely been the most intense part of all of this. And I know so many of you have been feeling that as well. But we're really almost to the other side of that energy. I know that people keep talking about that and saying that, but it really is true. We're getting to the point where things are really going to start to look up for you in a big way. And I feel this sense of, first of all, it's almost like the old world has been slowly coming to a halt in a way. And so there's been this breakdown in the old world. And what I mean by the old world is like the old way of thinking and doing things, your old identity, maybe things you used to attach your identity to in the past that brought you some kind of sense of certainty in the past from that like 3D perspective. All of that is being stripped away. And so it's been slowly coming to a halt for a while, I would say for really several years now. But in this year of the snake, it's like we've been going through this very intense final shedding process of whatever was left over, whatever hadn't yet fully been cleared from that old world. And so it makes sense that at the very end of the year of the snake, these past few weeks, we've been going through a very intensive final purge and final clearing, because it's almost like this transition is saying to us, okay, anything you are still holding on to, anything you've not let go of yet, now needs to come to the surface and needs to be burned away. And so many of us have had this sensation lately of being in the void where everything has sort of come to a halt in a way where we may feel like things are slowing down, but it's actually slowing down to speed up. And there may be a message in that for someone, because even when it comes to your physical body, I'm getting something about slowing down physically or letting yourself slow down actually puts you in a state of alignment that is letting you speed up from an energy perspective. But what I'm getting is like two different kinds of realities, almost like a split reality here. And one reality is where things seem to be moving very fast on the surface, but it's very ungrounded and it's not true progress. It's almost like someone just running in circles. And so the mind might feel like it's being productive or like it's making progress simply because it is moving. But I'm hearing that motion for the sake of motion is being weeded out of our energy system. So we're really beginning to see so clearly how sometimes we feel like we're exerting so much effort and so much energy and moving so quickly on the surface, but we're not really getting anywhere, really just going in circles. And that's been made more clear to us now, especially in these past few weeks than ever before. But what I'm getting is there's this other reality here. Again, there's like split realities. And in this other reality, things are happening deeply beneath the surface, but it's less visible on the surface. This is like deep inner change, deep inner transformation that alters everything. This is slowing down and getting ourselves into alignment, breathing more deeply, reconnecting with our core, with our inner self, with our vision, and letting everything else move from that place and flow from that place. But the thing about this way of doing things is it's not as gratifying to the ego or to the conscious mind, because on the surface, it can often look like we're actually slowing down or like pulling back our energy, when really we are pulling back energy for the purpose of cultivating a magnetism within us that then effortlessly begins to draw to us the things that are in harmony with our core vibrational state, with that state of alignment. And I'm hearing this is what true progress looks like. So it's almost like there's one timeline of false progress where we are expending a lot of effort and energy, but it just feels like we're running in circles. The mind kind of likes that sort of progress because it can tell itself that it's being productive, even if it's not really getting anywhere. This other way of doing things is slower, and it's coming from the core of us, and it's deeper, and it feels almost uncomfortable to the mind, because the mind will want to judge us as going too slow or not doing enough. And there's something here about nervous system regulation and how you are really deeply regulating your nervous system right now and learning how to do things from that other mode, from that other way of being that is deeper and slower and more internally based. Like you're internally cultivating that energy, cultivating that magnetism, and then letting the results flow from that internal state of magnetism instead of trying to fix and resolve, improve and chase in the external in order to achieve some kind of internal state, if that makes sense. And of course, this all kind of comes back to the core of like anything that we want for the purpose of thinking that it's going to make us happy or it's going to make us feel better or more relaxed or bring us a sense of relief. But what I'm getting is that you are one of the rare few being called to reverse engineer that entire equation, meaning you are finding the relief, the peace, the happiness within yourself. And again, nervous system regulation seems to play a huge role in this. Like you're learning to regulate yourself, to stabilize yourself. And then ironically, that's exactly when everything externally begins to move in the right direction, because everything externally is reflecting that internal state of peace and happiness and fulfillment, not the other way around. But I'm hearing reality is about to get really magical. But again, it's not happening because you're exerting so much externally. It's actually happening because you're slowing down and aligning more with your internal self. Now, what I'm picking up is that if you try to dip back into that other reality, like, you know what, I am getting uncomfortable with this process of slowing down. I'm just going to try and push it forward with the mind, or exert so much effort and burn myself out and essentially sacrifice my peace to get some kind of result. What I'm getting is that whenever you go down that pathway, you feel this immediate evidence of that misalignment because you're no longer meant to be doing that. So it's going to give you some kind of feedback. You're going to get feedback from either your body or your reality or the outcomes you experience. And that feedback is meant to let you know that you are stepping out of your own alignment in order to try to force something into place. It's meant to actually realign you with that core of yourself. And I actually have an example of this in my personal life. So for whatever reason, I don't know why, maybe because some of you have been manifesting this forward, but I have really felt guided to share so much more personal information at times than I usually do, meaning like small personal antidotes or ways that I've been feeling at certain moments. And I'm not sure exactly why this is. Maybe this relates to, I don't know, something specific that one of you has been going through, or there's a reason that I'm meant to be sharing these things. But if you ever feel guided to share anything in the comments or let me know how something is connecting, I always love to hear from you. My comment section is always open. However, I know that many of you here are silent listeners, and I want to acknowledge the silent listeners as well, because your energy is just as powerful here and it's felt just as palpably. So thank you to those of you who quietly tune in to this channel and gravitate towards this space, even if you're listening quietly. Okay, so what I was getting to here is my personal antidote about this kind of energy we're channeling into. So I had been going through a lot of this myself. I'm part of this collective, of course, that I am also channeling into in many of these readings. And so I had been dealing with a lot of this energy. And to be honest, like many of you, at times, even though I know, and obviously I can channel this information about what's going on, still being human, there are times where it feels really overwhelming to be sitting in the void. And I have absolutely felt that discomfort the past few weeks, this sense of, but what if I slow down and then things aren't moving forward fast enough? What if I can't trust this new alignment that I'm being called to? What if my own peace isn't enough? And when that self-doubt creeps in, as I'm sure many of you are familiar with, the coping mechanism of the mind and the ego is to rush to try and fix it with action, to try and rush something ahead physically to get some state of peace internally. And so I had been in some state one day where I was like, okay, I just need to really make some kind of a new plan. And I was writing down all of these things I was going to be doing, and I could feel myself kind of pushing and kind of forcing, but I ignored those signals. And then I stubbed my pinky toe really, really badly. I bruised it really bad. And it was actually kind of painful to even walk for a couple days because of how badly I bruised it. And it's funny because this happened directly when I was in the middle of this kind of, I guess, mental storm that I'd created when I stepped out of my peace and out of my alignment and was trying to push things into place from the mind. And although at the time it was frustrating, looking back, it was a blessing because I can see that that was feedback for me, letting me know that I had stepped out of my own state of alignment in order to try and achieve some kind of result or get something done really quickly. And I was receiving feedback really from my own physical body, letting me know that I had exited the present moment. And that is where I was meant to be. I'm meant to be present and flowing. And so I don't know why I felt guided to share that, but maybe some of you have experienced something similar or had something happen in your own life where you realized that you were pushing mentally and trying to force something, and then you got some kind of feedback. And the thing is, when you are someone who is very empathic, you're also held to a higher standard in a way. So it may be frustrating at times because you may feel as though there are other people who can be more, let's say, misaligned. They can go down certain pathways for a while where they're kind of forcing or pushing or chasing and getting some kind of results, but they aren't as attuned to energy as you are. And so at times you may have this experience of seeing other people being able to kind of work within that different energy field and not receive so much negative feedback from their own system. But that is because they may not be as sensitively attuned in a way. And of course, that doesn't make their experience wrong. It's just different. They're working with a different level of energy and a different kind of energy space. But here in this collective, we are very energetically sensitive and attuned to higher frequencies. And again, this is a two-sided coin because on the one hand, it's a major gift and a blessing. Because you get access to higher states of energy, you're essentially working with an updated operating system in your own being, which is a beautiful thing because you're also in a way able to more powerfully affect the fabric of your reality, but not through force and not through control and not through pushing or chasing, but through aligning internally, coming back to that state of peace within yourself. And for some reason, I don't know why, but another thing that was coming through is something about how the world is really craving your authenticity right now. And maybe this is bringing full circle why I felt guided recently to share more from my personal life. Maybe there's some connection point in the messages here, because what I'm getting is I feel I'm picking up on the energy of someone who has been really feeling called to share something that feels raw or feels open or authentic, or maybe you've been doing this more lately, and it's because you're very attuned to the collective, and you know that what the world really needs right now is people who are heart connected, sharing from that heart open place, even when it's messy, even when it's not polished, even when it's quote unquote imperfect. You know that really what the world is craving is that openness and that vulnerability and that authenticity, because that is true magnetic heart chakra energy. And I almost feel that like you're sensing that in a world where so much is overly produced and overdone and perfectly polished, that there is like this version of you that is being called forth. It's almost being manifested in a way by the collective consciousness. Like the collective wants to hear your unique, raw, open, vulnerable voice. But then there could be this part of you doubting that, like, but what if it's not perfect? Or what if it's, I don't know, messy? Or what if I share or show too much of myself? But I'm hearing something about like a heartbeat. It's like something about your heart beating, about feeling alive and sharing that aliveness and that humanness, and how that is so valuable right now in the world. And I keep getting something about, and I saw 2121, maybe that's a number for someone. I saw something about like an algorithm, and it reminded me of a social media algorithm. And the message I keep getting around this is that our algorithms are changing, and it's almost as though we used to crave things that were more polished on the surface, but now there is this almost like a pushback where we are really beginning to connect more with our hearts as a collective, and really as a global collective. We are becoming more aware of what's happening energetically than we are perceiving just what's happening on the surface. And so I've been saying this for a while, but really it's definitely happening now, where so much of our connectedness to each other is actually happening energetically and telepathically now, as opposed to happening just on the surface, like through our words or through our facial expressions or through physically connecting. So much more frequently, we are having those moments where, like, you may have noticed recently, like you will think of someone and then immediately they will call you or text you, or you will call or text them, and then you'll realize there's a reason for that. And it's not just in our relationships or connections either. We are becoming more intuitively based beings, more intuitively guided. And it's almost as though that is our only true GPS system for this new reality, this new energy space we're stepping into. You have to trust that intuition, but the only way you can hear that intuition is by staying fully present in the moment. And of course, I'm hearing something about the body being a portal to presence. And so you may find it beneficial to come back to your body through stretching, through walking, through moving, dancing. I'm hearing not just thinking it in your head, but feeling it in your body, letting it settle in your body, the peace, the happiness, the fulfillment, the contentment. Yeah, there's something about mind-body integration here that's coming up. Maybe that holds some kind of relevance for someone. But I also want to talk about the heavier side of this energy a little bit more, because once again, I'm feeling guided to share some of this, because you are at moments most likely feeling this excitement and this exhilaration at certain times, in glimpses or flashes, or like for some of you, you may even be having trouble sleeping sometimes because you'll wake up feeling like, whoa, I'm ready for the day. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to create. I'm ready for this new version of me. But then you might notice that you kind of hit a wall, or there's like this crash in the energy. And it's almost as though we're still kind of adjusting to this new place. And that shedding is still happening at the same time. So we're sort of in this place where like we're adjusting to a brand new energy that's really high vibrational. We're adjusting to like this new expanded vision. But at the same time, we are still shedding internally as well. And so we can find ourselves on the other side of that, where we feel a come down. And so what I've noticed is that sometimes I will feel really exhilarated, really high energy, and I will see this whole vision coming together. And then it's almost like that energy will crash a bit, and I can feel the opposite of that. So last night I was definitely feeling this huge wave of anxiety. And it was that kind of anxiety that, you can just like feel in your body, like in your system, where it's almost like this alarm system in your body. And it's like you have to come back to your breath and steady yourself and calm yourself down. And it just kind of hit out of nowhere after a time when I'd been feeling so high flying and so exhilarating. And the reason that I'm sharing that is because I feel many of us are dealing with this, where you are really seeing the vision coming together. And then that kind of can feel like it has a crash component to it, where you might then feel a come down, but then you'll kind of come back up. You'll wake up feeling in that high flying place again, or feeling better. Know that nothing is going wrong here. This is just your system adjusting to a very, very powerful, high frequency new energy that we are getting access to. And in fact, if you are finding this reading, I feel that you are one of the first on the planet getting access to this new kind of energy space. It's almost like you have access to this new fabric of reality that you can play with, that you can create with, and create powerful things with, because you're infusing this new powerful energy into those things. But this comes with a high level of responsibility and care. And so at times you're going to feel like, in a way, you're being held to a higher standard. Like you have to be more connected to your body. You have to be more rooted in the present moment. You have to be more connected to your own sense of peace and inner contentment and fulfillment than most people. Like most people may be able to be more chaotic in the ways that they live their lives, and it kind of can still work out. But you may notice that because of this energy you're personally working with, you can't do that. You have to prioritize your peace. You have to prioritize your inner alignment as your number one. And something else kind of in line with this that has been coming through is like a message for someone who has been feeling like they're judging themselves for the kind of care that they need, like the kind of rest that they need, or the kinds of routines that they have to have in place in order to feel stable or to feel steady or to feel aligned. You may feel like you're judging yourself because some of these things do take a good chunk of your time or your energy. And you may think like, wouldn't I be so much more productive if I could just jump right into action or be pushing out all of this action all day long? But that is not you. And it's a beautiful thing that that is not you, because it's a sign that you've been granted access to a higher level system that is more sensitive in a way. So of course your body is more sensitive, your energy field is more sensitive, but that also means that you are more powerful, because the more sensitive and attuned you are, the more seamlessly your system is able to function. It's literally like working with a higher level operating system on a computer, where you're going to have to run new programs on that system. The old programs would literally burn out your system. And it's the same thing for you. Old programs that might work on someone working with a more outdated operating system may still work for them, but that doesn't mean they're going to work for you, because you've been given this rare access to a higher level energy system, this kind of supercomputer, but it's energy. It's your own energy that you're able to create with. But yes, on the other side of that, you may feel overwhelmed or overstimulated by it at times. Just know that even in those moments, you are supported, you are on the right track, you are moving in such a beautiful, powerful direction. This is not a sign of your weakness. This is a sign of your strength. And I don't know why, but I feel like someone really needed to hear that. Like maybe you've been through something recently where you're wondering, is this a sign of my weakness or me backsliding or whatever? It's the opposite. What you're going through or what you're dealing with, or those moments that you have where you feel overwhelmed or anxious or uncertain, that's actually a sign of how strong you've become, how expanded you've become, because you're literally working with this higher level system right now. And so I hope, if nothing else, this reading has reminded you that you are doing so much better than you're giving yourself credit for. And I hope that it encourages you to keep going. I feel like this energy is slowly starting to lighten up. And that's another thing I've been noticing. Like, I feel it's getting easier and easier to kind of see through the fog more consistently. And I'm also getting that this whole vision for yourself and your life that we've been talking about, it's really starting to come together now. For some of you, you're going to feel like you're stepping through a portal, and suddenly It may have already happened for you. It might be happening soon, but I feel like there's going to be this moment where everything just feels like it clicked into place, where you're suddenly like, whoa, I feel like I see how everything is fitting together. Not just futuristically, although that is happening too. Like you're getting this future vision, yes, but also the past is going to start clicking together. There's something about like the past, the present, and the future all merging together, like merging onto the same highway in a sense. It's like those three threads of you, your past, your present, your future, are being woven together into this coherent vision that is not just harmonious, but it is big, it's expansive, it's powerful, it's abundant, it's beyond even like the current limits of your imagination. And I feel you are a visionary, so you have a very expanded imagination, but it's even bigger than that. So I'm so excited to be along this journey with all of you. And if this has been connecting for you and you'd like support on this journey, subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you here. Let's walk this path together. Let's support each other along the way and keep going hand in hand, because I feel this energy is lightening up and bringing in so many beautiful things for all of us. And if you would like to continue on with me now to the extended version of this reading, I will be continuing to channel into everything we're talking about here. I don't really have a specific idea of what's coming up in today's extended version, but I know it's going to be powerful, and I'm so excited to go there with all of you who feel guided to it. You can listen to the extended either on Patreon or YouTube memberships. When you do sign up for a membership on either of those platforms, you get access to 3 new exclusive bonus readings just for members every single week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I would love to see you over there if your intuition is nudging you in that direction. If you are stopping off here, then I want to give you the gift of a final Rumi Oracle card, because I know so many of you love to end these readings with a Rumi message. So what is one final message that I can share here? What is one final message I can share with our collective? This is actually the first card that we're pulling in this reading. This was just one of those readings that seemed to flow so effortlessly, and I want to thank all of you who brought your energy to this video, because I know that's what made that kind of flow possible here. So thank you. And the Rumi card is Blessing of Zara. You use thought to seek release from suffering and pain, while thought is the cause of your suffering and pain. There is something more loving and beautiful awaiting. Do not try to feast upon scraps. Stop scratching in the dirt for stale breadcrumbs. Arise and move toward the seat at the heavenly table gleaming before you. A greater feast awaits your attendance. So that feels like a perfect stopping place for the reading. What a beautiful final aligned card from Rumi. If you are currently dealing with this energy, I really, truly am sending you so much love and peace and healing and beautiful energy. I really hope that you continue to be kind with yourself and do your best not to judge yourself through these transitions that we're going through. They are very intense. And so, yeah, I feel like that's a great place to end the reading today. Thank you so much for being here. I love all of you so much, and I will connect with you here again in the next video.